Hey everyone, welcome back. Today is November 12th, 2019. In this video, I want to discuss the death of Southern Connecticut State University student and level 10 gymnast Melanie Coleman, who passed away on the 10th of this month, 2 days after suffering an injury while falling from the uneven bars. Now, Coleman was a pretty accomplished gymnast. She had qualified as a level 10 gymnast, which is the highest level in the Junior Olympics program. So for her to have this accident is pretty strange, and everyone's calling it a pretty tragic freak accident. So in this video, we're going to talk about the numerology of this event and speculate on whether or not maybe some more investigation would be worthwhile. But for now, let's just take a look at the numerology and save the rest for the end of the video. First thing I want to point out is how they quote the word freak here in the headline, and they could have put freak accident into quotes instead, but they chose to put the word freak. Now, in the language of Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, freak has a value of 122, using the English extended method, which is similar to the ancient Hebrew and Greek isopsephy charts. The name Melanie Coleman, in the standard alphabetic order, A1, B2, all the way through Z is 26, sums to 122 as well. But let's uncover the real riddle that lies underneath this story. First of all, the word accident is mentioned many, many times. We see it in the headline, we see it there, they quote it here in this paragraph. It's all over the place. Well, the word accident in Gematria has an ordinal value of 59. In Jewish Gematria, which is based in the Latin alphabetic order, you'll see the more modern English characters placed at the end. The word kill also has a numeric value of 59. The woman's name, Melanie, in the alphabetic order, also equals 59, and her first plus last name, Melanie Coleman, summing to 59 in the reduction method. This is also called Pythagorean Gematria, where each double-digit number is reduced to a single digit prior to adding it to the equation. Melanie Coleman was said to be a level 10 gymnast, and in reduction, this also summing to 59. The word gymnastics also has a value of 59 with the alphabetic order reversed and reduced. And just today, we received new details that this accident occurred on the uneven bars, which also sums to 59 in reverse reduction. Now, earlier this year, SCU Gymnastics, from their Twitter feed, announced Melanie Coleman's birthday. This tweet was made on June 2nd, around 9 or 10 in the morning. So it's safe to assume her birthday is June 2nd. I couldn't find it anywhere else, and we knew she was 20 and that she was born in 1999. Now, if you measure from the date, or from her birthday, June 2nd, to the date she died, you'll see it was a span of 5 months and 9 days later. Furthermore, she was 20 years, 5 months, 9 days old. In numerology, the zeros are ignored, so this represents the number 259. Using Latin Gematria, the name Melanie Coleman equals 259. Now, this death is unique in that she got injured on Friday and then passed away 2 days later. Well, the day between her injury and death also had primary numerology of 59, 11 plus 9 plus 20 plus 19. The date that she passed away had numerology of 40 and 13 in a couple of our other reduced calculation methods. And I point this out because not only does gymnastics equal 40 and 130, but the name Melanie also equals 40 and 130, again, like the numerology of the date she passed away. Also worth pointing out is that the last name Coleman, 27 and 36, this is the same as Gymnast. Melanie was a student at Southern Connecticut State University. Using the alphabetic order, Southern Connecticut State has a value of 312. The date of the accident in which she became injured on the uneven bars was November 8th, the 312th day of the year. Southern Connecticut State University was founded in 1893, meaning that in 2019, it turned 126 years old. The name Coleman sums to 126 in the reverse alphabetic order, and her date of birth, 6 plus 2 plus 19 plus 99, has numerology of 126 as well. Also notice that 36, this is another number found in her name. The date of this incident is interesting as well. November 8th is written 11/8, similar to the number 118. The word death equals 118 in Latin Gematria. Now in the alphabetic order, death equals 38. The 38th prime number is 163. And the date that we got the news story of her death was a span of 163 days after her birthday. So on my channel, I talk about how deaths are coded around the numerology of local politicians and the state in which it occurred. Now, Connecticut has very interesting numerology, and earlier this year, I did a post on Connecticut and the numerology of its admission to the Union. And the first thing I pointed out in this decode is that Connecticut has the same gematria as Metonic cycle. The Metonic cycle is by far what I think to be the most significant cycle of time, one that receives all sorts of tributes through numerology, whether organic or not. This is always coded into these major news stories. Not always, but when it's relevant, it makes sense. And here we have a story in Connecticut, which has matching gematria with Metonic cycle. So this Metonic cycle is 19 years long. Connecticut was admitted to the Union on January 9th, the date written 1/9. And currently their governor is Ned Lamont. Ned Lamont took office on 1/9/19. The date written 1/9/19. So all sorts of 19s coded around Connecticut. If you measure from the date Ned Lamont took office to the date that Melanie Coleman had her accident, it was 303 days later. And 33 is a number I commonly talk about being associated with sacrifice. Check out 33, how it sums to 895 in Jewish gematria. Look at the gematria of ritual human sacrifice. It's the same, 895. Now, if you bear with me with a second, I just realized another part of this riddle. In the alphabetic order, ritual human sacrifice equals 211. Level 10 gymnast sums to 211. This level 10 gymnast was named Melanie Coleman, and in English gematria, her name sums to 329, which is the gematria of ritual human sacrifice in reverse. So we said 19 years in the Metonic cycle. Well, the number 19 equals 86 in the alphabetic order. Gymnast Melanie Coleman equals 86. Wow, this also equals 927. This is a number I talked about in my video yesterday. The word sacrifice equals 927. The word gymnast in Jewish Gematria equals 668, which is the same value as Metonic cycle, 668. So I genuinely question whether it was a simple training accident that took the life of this poor girl. Again, I absolutely believe that we live in an organic matrix of sorts where if someone dies, it's going to happen by the numbers. However, if I knew this girl, I would absolutely be asking a whole lot of questions about this death. Who was in the room when it happened? Who witnessed it? These are the types of things that I would love to get to the bottom of, because this numerology is so strong and consistent that I'd like to know if organic numerology really operates this clearly. Because this number 59 that we talked about, look, there's a secret society that runs our government and media, and you'd be a fool to say Freemasonry is not part of it. The largest secret society in the world, in all likelihood. Freemasonry equals 59, not just in English, but also in the Hebrew language, Freemasonry summing to 59. And what really brings this together and makes me question if she was killed, remember how I pointed out that Melanie Coleman sums to, where was it? Oh, gymnast Melanie Coleman sums to 927, like the word sacrifice in squares, 927. Look at this. This is too weird. I hope I'm not losing my focus here, but gymnast Melanie Coleman equals 3211 in squares. Look at the word Freemasonry, 2311. And on the date that she passed away, the state of Connecticut, which again was admitted to the Union on January 9th of 1788, on the date of the accident, Connecticut was exactly 231 years and 10 months old with the end date. So there you have the numbers 2311, just like Freemasonry. And we already saw how the 59 is coded everywhere around this. And another possibility we need to entertain, thanks to Amy for bringing this up in the chat, is that this could be a fake story. Now, again, I have no idea. If that's the case, I mean, certainly people definitely knew this person, and I consider that a possibility, but I'm more prone to believe that this was a murder or an organic matrix situation than anything. But either way, how can you deny the relevance of numerology when all of these things line up so perfectly? Someone in the chat, Chris T, who's been a good contributor lately, he brought up the death of Julissa Gomez, and this is something I actually glanced at myself just before doing this, and I didn't really look closely at the numbers, but I guess we can take a look. She died on August 8th of 1991. So Coleman's death was 3 months and 3 days after that date. We talked about the 33 of that significance. Also, the accident was 28 years and 3 months. 283, a number I kind of touch on a lot. The moon is 283. Huh, look at this. This one trips me out. So from the date of Julissa Gomez's death, who was a gymnast, an American gymnast, who her career was cut short by a vaulting accident that left her quadriplegic. She died 3 years later. Okay, but if you measure from the death of Julissa Gomez to the death of Melanie Coleman, you get 1,474 weeks. Now, 474 is an interesting number. Numerology in prime numbers equals 474. And, if you see my work, particularly on the Eclipse Crucifixion Code, which is now linked down below, you'll see how the numbers 47 and 74 are really, really significant to this code. Using the alphabetic order, Southern Connecticut State University equals 474. And that's where Melanie Coleman was a student. Might be a deeper riddle there with Final Destination 2. I'm not going to dive too deep into that now, but just to update the chat, this gymnast was pretty well known from what I understand. She was a level 10 gymnast at Southern Connecticut State. She was, from what I've read so far, she was a pretty popular student athlete. She helped out at the facility that she was training at when she died. Again, I mean, as far as speculating whether it was real or who she was, I got to leave that to you guys, but I'm just here to show you the numerology and how incredibly well this all lines up. And for Chris T's sake, I'm going to go ahead and do that measurement. I agree, it would totally be hard to fake that. I think look, I'm just going to go out and say it. I think there's a really strong predisposition in this truth community, Gematria, numerology. We're all very quick to call things fake, and we need to understand that a lot of this stuff is not fake. I've done several videos now about people who have passed away, and I've actually been contacted by like family members and friends of the people who passed away saying, no, this person's really dead, things like that. Like, the world is really happening. Things really happen in the world, so it's simple to think it's fake and that, these people are just being pulled up and thrown to an island somewhere, but I don't think that. It just doesn't... I mean, why do we think that in the first place, I think if a lot of us were introduced to numerology, as if it were all organic, I think a lot of people would have a different viewpoint on it. And, of course, if you know me, I think it's a mix. I think we're seeing both real-life organic events play out through the media. We're seeing the mainstream media is aware of this code and probably manufacture stories by it. And I think murder by numbers is real too. They definitely kill people by the numbers. But just because someone dies by the numbers doesn't mean they were murdered. That's what I want people to understand as well. No doubt about that in my mind either. And, call me whatever you want for that, but I'll take that belief to the grave unless... for sure. It's just been my experience of studying this stuff. So, I think with that, I'm probably gonna end the video there. This was an interesting story. If you actually look at my blog, I put this in the organic matrix section. But understand, I'm not the authority here when it comes to that judgment. Maybe this girl was murdered, and the more I picked into it, the more it seems like that could be the case. Again, I want to know if there were witnesses to this. People who actually saw the injury. Sounds like a strange thing to suggest, but that's how it goes. All right, everyone. Thanks for jumping in. And again, as long as everybody has an open mind to this and understands that we live in this construct in which things just happen by the numbers. We're all here for a reason. We're here for lessons, to be able to grow our ability to love as humans. And that's all I want people, is to have an open mind when they look at this stuff. Anyway, that'll do it. Thanks again, everybody. We'll talk to you next time. Peace, love, God bless. See ya!